Next, a model is a collection of entities and components. It is to bring a form that has already been standardized and make it usable. To explain what model is, I'll have to mention entity, components, and property that I've been explaining a few moments ago. Here, let's say we have this red wizard here. And let's take a look at the property it has. And right now, I'm going to change some details in the name tag component. First, I'm going to try to make this name tag bigger, around 5. Oh, it's too big. 4, yeah. And also, I'll try to change the color of the font into red. And you can also change the background theme by choosing a different name tag RUID right here. Oh, this looks okay. Okay, you see. Now that I've changed the theme, I also want to move this name tag displayed above the head. So around 3, it's too high. 2, so 2-point thing also works. Okay, 2.2, I think this is enough. And lastly, I'm going to change the name into Red Wizard. Okay, so this is a whole new NPC compared to the original one right here, right? For example, if you want to reproduce this red wizard, you don't have to add this original model and modify all the details right here. Instead, you can just right-click and create model from entity here. Now you'll see that this new red wizard model with this green name tag here, and you can reproduce this anytime you want. So anytime you want, yeah. This is what models can do. So utilize them when you want to improve productivity or when you just want to use them as stems for making copies of the original model. And models can also be used in scripts, which we will get into in our sessions on scripts later on. So to summarize, objects often used when making MSW maps are models. So these are all models. And there are also models provided by default, but you can create the new ones from this original entities like I showed you right now. So please make sure you understood the 4 concepts: component, entity, property, and model, as they will be used and mentioned very often. So now that we've learned about these major concepts, let's move on to service and logic. So what is service and logic? Before discussing what they are, let's compare them with components for better understanding. So components are characteristics given to an entity. You can add a component by clicking an entity here and then add component. So I'm going to add a monster here. Monster. I want this black baron monster. Yeah, this one. And I want to name this guy. But unfortunately, it doesn't have a name tag component. So I'll just add one here and rename it as Black Baron. Font size 3. So now the name tag component of this entity and the name tag component of this entity are both called name tag components, right? So this name tag component and this name tag component here. But do you think that they are the same components? Actually, the answer is no, because a component belongs to this different entity and they can embody many different aspects. So for now, this 2 component has a different name for each and a different name tag RUID, font size, and font color, and Yeah, so they have a different properties, which means they're not the same components. So these components can exist in many more entities. I hope that this makes sense. Whereas MSW service and logic are different from components. There's only one of each service or logic in this world. So services and logics are very unique, and there's only one of each kind in the world. So there are no two services that are the same. So here you can find services and logic. You can actually make a new logic here. But then, what's the difference between service and logic? MSW service refers to logics that address the core areas in MSW that cannot be controlled by users here. But logic, as I told you, we can create them, which means that they are reprocessable. For example, UI logic right here. It means that I can change the content here and even make logics myself. So that is the biggest difference. To rephrase it, services are logic that provides parts that are difficult for users to control, these one. And there are services such as user, log, data, and camera, and so on. Logic refers to something that is used for the actual game operation. Here, tween logic, UI logic, util logic, emotion logic. They are accessible, which means you can change. Okay, so let's wrap up now. I made a short PPT. So in this session, we've looked at entities, components, properties, and models, which are frequently used in MSW, and we've also learned about services and logic. We'll get into the details on how to make the most out of them, focusing on how to use them in scripts, like this in the sessions that follow. So for now, understand the concepts behind these features, and I'll be introducing basics to Lua script in our coming session.